Hello again now. As the new year unfolds, with chill winds, rain, some snow and sleet, we are doing better than our neighbours across the pond by the look of it. This weekend anyway. However, we are presently sharing in equal measure lots of other things. The newly coined phrase, quandremic for one thing. The famous four, comprising flu, RSV, norovirus and of course COVID. Flu is certainly circulating at all ages at the moment. Whilst you simply often forget a cold, cough, sinus infection or sore throat, if not that severe, you will remember a bout of flu, particularly type 8 flu, the worst and more severe variety. It can be really quite severe and often leading on to other things, e.g. pneumonia and the like, in those susceptible to such things, e.g. asthmatics, those with COPD, the elderly or the very young, or carrying reduced immune responses via multiple causes. Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV for short, has suddenly become a mainstream conversation piece this year. Partly the launching of the new vaccine, of course, and partly having from October onwards quite a few RSV cases floating about. Norovirus, well, this year's strain is mainly a sort of vomiting thing on its greeting card, often just for 24 hours or so, or less sometimes. However, it can be severe. It does lend itself to being transmissible for at least 48 hours after the bulk of symptoms have resolved. So careful hand washing and initial isolation in the main sort of stay of virus spread prevention. And of course COVID is flying about, but often not tested for, as of course we now actually have to, in many cases, purchase COVID testing kits for the most part. And often the present sort of COVID strain is relatively mild in effect. However, let's not take this for granted ever. Many souls have been struck down with COVID this past year and still carry with them the well-known stigmata of fatigue and shortness of breath and exertion, to name just a couple. And here we are days after the turn of this new year, with the sounds of broken resolutions ringing in our collective ears. The usual suspects, of course, remain in place. Smoking, alcohol, diet, followed by exercise. Will this be the year when we see the moniker MAID sort of appended to a patient's records? We already have EOL and DNA CPR. In other words, this person is end of life and does not want any attempt at cardiopulmonary resuscitation CPR. MAID, medical assistance in dying, it could be quite a change of stance. There's no doubt about that, both locally and across in England and Wales. Today's regular smokers can be a tough nut to crack, however. We have numerous ways and means to ease the process, from nicotine replacement therapy in all its forms and types to vaping. Now, we're not about to launch into sort of a yeas and no's, risks and benefits of vaping, but suffice to say that the evidence so far tells us that vaping is safer overall than smoking. That seems firm enough at the moment anyway. Then we have Resenecline back. In 2021, Champix, a pill that regular usage markedly reduced nicotine cravings. That was the thing, Champix. That was taken off the market for all kinds of sort of murky reasons, but its pharmaceutical exact equivalent, the generic version, Resenecline, has in fact in late 2024 been given a license by the MHRA, the Medicine, Health and Regulatory Association Authority, just for this purpose. Varenicline, well, then there's alcohol. After all the potential excess of the past 2 weeks or so, perhaps it's time to reassess. From a dry January to some sort of other plan to reduce your alcohol usage, it can only help. Alcohol has been termed, of course, the new syphilis by some wise sages. In the Middle Ages, syphilis, the VD, venereal disease, was rife, affecting multiple body areas, from the brain, the nervous system, to the heart, the circulation, the guts, the liver and the skin. Alcohol does all this, in fact, and more. Interestingly, though, alcohol can hike your blood pressure within days of regular usage. And stop the alcohol, and within days the blood pressure returns to normal. Interesting. Home measures for wines and spirits usage at home is now a commonplace thing for all kinds of social and practical reasons. That's making it very difficult to sort of accurately assess consumption, let alone units drunk. Yes, then our obesity issues, becoming more and more normalised, but it is anything but. Much more, of course, of all this in the coming weeks, but for now, I think that'll suffice, I am sure. Happy New Year, until next time, cheerio.